Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Courtside with Beilinson Tennis, part of the Tennis Channel Podcast Network. Tonight, we have with us a returning guest, Carlos Silva, who just finished a remarkable season with World Team Tennis. By way of introduction, Carlos joined World Team Tennis as CEO in January of 2019 to lead this organization forward. A veteran media and digital executive, Carlos has built and sold companies in the TV and media convergence space over the last 25 years. He has raised more than $250 million for the startups that he has operated. Please welcome back to the pod, Carlos Silva. Carlos, I'll just start with this. Holy Moses, man. Wow. Are you still on cloud nine?
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. David, good to see you, and great to be on the show. Yeah, I mean, it really hasn't sunk in. I mean, every day, we're still getting a lot of thank you notes from players, from fans, from even other colleagues around the sports industry, and it's just really nice to hear from them all. And it's sort of starting to sink in that we got through it. We did it clean. We had fans, and it was amazing tennis too. So all of those things, it really feels great.
Well, you do know I am a Chicago guy. And I mean, I still have the picture on my phone of that last point. And I mean, to say it hit the back third of the line, I think it's like the back eighth of the line. I mean, it still hurts. And what I texted Luke Jensen, who the coach of New York Empire, the team that won, obviously, I said, as a Chicago fan, this hurt. But as a tennis fan, it was unbelievable. And I mean, you could not have scripted this any better. I mean, there were no other points that possibly could have been played.
It was, it was nuts, and the ending was crazy. I mean, we were doing other things in the stadium too. We were getting ready. We were on CBS, obviously. We had a PGA Tour event that was coming on. I think it was in Memphis. So we were trying to be good citizens and do everything we could to get off the air by 3:00. Obviously, Coco and Sloan and everyone else had different thoughts on that, and it just kept going and going, and then it got into that super tie break. And it's interesting because when Sloan got subbed in, I want to say it was either 4-2 or 5-3 in the tie break, and Sloan was so pumped. She was like high five and she was fist pumping, and it really felt like they had it under control. But I mean, look, we've all played tiebreakers, and unfortunately, sometimes a couple points slip away. And I had sort of made my way down to the tunnel, and Billie Jean was there with us because we were going to do the trophy ceremony, and we were right courtside, right by the scoreboard, kind of where the tunnel is to come out to the court. And I mean, it was insane. I mean, everyone was so excited, like they couldn't believe it. I think Brian Hicks leaned over and he's like, this has only happened once in the history or something like that, where it came down to a super tie break. And yeah, that ball was mostly out. That's for sure. It was mostly out, but Hawkeye did its job. I mean, imagine, David, if we had lines people, how controversial that would have been. I mean, it was also a $250,000 swing. 500 to the winner, 250 to the runners up, and so yeah, Hawkeye did its job. And unfortunate for Chicago, unfortunate for New York, the ball was in. But I mean, I think everybody won on that one. I mean, I was a little sad to see that someone had to lose, because it was really amazing.
For sure. And to kind of talk about that championship match, the ebbs and flows were crazy with that whole match. And, you got a guy like Jack Sock in these short matches, short sprint type of matches, especially on the doubles court, so dangerous. And after the men's dubs and the mixed dubs, I wasn't feeling too good as a Chicago fan. And then Brandon Nakashima, who, I mean, talk about a star in the making. This guy's going to be top 20 soon. Totally flipped the script on that whole match, and he won his singles over Jack 5-0. And now you got Bethany and Jeannie. Now the Chicago fans are starting to feel pretty good.
I mean, what a flip flop. I mean, I thought the same thing. I mean, I was like, oh, it's too bad. Well, we had a great semifinals. I guess the finals won't be, quite as good as that first semi was. And you just sort of watch it. And then all of a sudden, Brandon wins a game and he gets a break. And then, by the way, there was also a couple decision points in that set. I mean, that set could have easily been 5-2 or 5-3. And Brandon won all the, I think he won 2 decision points that ended up making it, go 5-0. And all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, talk about a flip-flop, and everybody was in the match. And then it came down to, I think mixed and women's doubles, which was amazing. Lots of Grand Slam winners on those courts, between Rajiv and Bethany and, Sloane and, and Jack. And I mean, it was really something else. But yeah, I mean, it was a total flip-flop. I mean, it could have really gone, and New York could have just sort of cruised on into the sunset with a victory, and then Chicago just came rolling back.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so great. I want to, because of obviously the period that we're in during this pandemic, the safety protocols that you and your team put in place. And I'll ask you to talk about that a little bit. And you'll see now sports that are acting in a bubble, World Team Tennis, the NBA so far, the NHL so far, those sports have seemed to be more successful. You see baseball struggling a bit because they're not in the bubble. There was no gray area for you. There was absolutely no wiggle room. There were strict protocols that you had to abide by. And if you slipped up, you had to leave. And that happened with one player. This was something where there was absolutely no gray area for you and your team for this whole event to be a success.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we talked about it a lot, Dave. And it was either you're clean or you're not, because the problem with having, the problem isn't that if someone tests positive. I mean, look, the way the world is right now, I mean, we don't even know where COVID really is, and sometimes people do get it and they feel fine and they don't know. But the problem there is that, then one person gets it, then 5 people get it, then 10 people get it. And the next thing you know, we lose a team, we lose a semifinal to, whatever it is. And literally the house of cards, comes down. So, for us, we talked about it every day, from getting there with that first negative test, before you could even leave your house, you had to test negative, to then doing a mid-season test. And then, really for us, I think the thing for me that I don't know if scared is the right word, but concerned is the right word, was kind of with about maybe 5 or 6 days to go. I think we were a couple of days from the semifinals. The season was sort of winding down, and then the Marlins, have this big breakout. And then on the back of that, the Cardinals have a big breakout. Everyone sort of was mad at us because we wouldn't allow anyone to go to the casino at the Greenbrier. And, then you see the Cardinals, a bunch of the guys went to the casino and they, ended up having some positive tests. And so it was really just about being super diligent and just reminding everyone. And I have to tell you, I really think as things progressed, everybody was kind of in this mode together. Right. And you'd see, staff, you'd see players, you'd see everybody, you'd hear about players not doing team dinners even. They would be eating just in their room because they didn't even want to go have a team dinner. And because they really wanted to be safe, or they were going to go home and see their mom after the season, and they wanted to make sure that they were safe. And I tell you, there was one moment where Jeannie Bouchard was leaving the stadium, and she was walking out, and it was kind of quiet. And, we didn't have that many fans, obviously, maybe a couple of hundred fans a day. And a fan came up to her and asked if she could get a picture taken. And I was sort of nearby, and I kind of started to move over to sort of help out. And I didn't even need to, because Jeannie was like, yeah, I could take a picture with you, but you need to have a mask on. I need to have a mask on, and we need to be 6 feet away from each other. And I just stopped and let it happen. And then later, I said, hey, Jeannie, that's, thank you for being part of the team to make it happen. And it really, I think really that's how it went all, during the season. And we kept it tight, and, thank goodness we, maybe we got a little lucky, and I think we were super diligent, but sometimes the two go hand in hand. And now I'm even happy that it's, a week later, David, and, people have gone everywhere, and we know they've gone to Lexington and they've gone other places, and they've all tested negative. So it's just really, it's great news for sport, and it's good news for us and tennis in general.
Yeah. Now, I know during the time frame of your event, sports was starting to come back a little bit, but I mean, let's be honest, sports full blast is not even close to going on right now. And this was an event that was going to be highlighted just because there was not a lot of other sports going on. this was something that could have really helped you and your team, or if it went the other way, really could have hurt you and your team. I guess I can ask twofold. Did you feel the pressure of that, one? And two, I mean, all the contingency plans you must have had in place, and you went, one way for 1 week, had to switch, do a 180 and do another plan. I mean, who'd you learn from and who'd you talk about? The process must have been unbelievable to try to make this a success.
Yeah, look, it definitely felt the pressure. I can tell you I had a lot of sleepless nights. You wake up middle of the night sort of worried about things. You'd hear about you just try to keep everyone locked together, and it got better and better as the weeks went on. But yeah, it was a lot of staying light on our feet, really. As we sort of started the process in April, May, June, everything kept changing every day. There was a different issue, a different state was shutting down. Things were good in one state, and then look, I mean, again, maybe sometimes you make the right decision and you're sort of good and lucky. And we did that with West Virginia and the Greenbrier. I mean, we really liked, we started this whole process, as you know, David, I was in the fight game for a while, and we really loved what the UFC was doing. They were really first back. Dana and the team did an amazing job with their testing protocols. And we listened, and we tried to learn from that as well. And, we booked the Jacksonville Arena where the first UFC fight was. That was on our short list. Let's go to Jacksonville. They did a fight. They did 3 fights there. We should do our season there. And Florida's open for business. And we thought the same with Texas. We thought the same with Las Vegas. And, in the end, we ended up choosing the Greenbrier in West Virginia. And, so thankful that we did, because there was not a lot there to do other than have dinner, enjoy your teammates, get some rest, practice, go for a walk, play a little golf, all things that kept everyone together. There were no other things to go out and about. I think Vegas would have been very tough. I think Florida was spiking during our season, and so was Texas. So there's no doubt that I guess, maybe a lot of the double, triple preparation, coming up with different plans. And then you end up, picking the Greenbrier, and you're a little bit off the beaten track in a low incidence place, and it helps you get it done.
So you guys are riding a huge wave of momentum right now. I mean, there was a lot of prize money at stake. Obviously, everyone likes the team sport, the team part of now all these team events with tennis. You said when you have it in one place, obviously you lose the home court advantage, quote unquote, to speak, right? But I'll ask you, where do you see, with all this positive momentum that you guys have right now, where do you see World Team Tennis going forward? And two, with the success you had in one location, is that in the back of your mind that, we may not have to travel and go to these home and away type of matches? Yes, you do lose that, again, quote unquote, home court advantage, but is it something that if the schedule allows it, boom, just keep it at one location just because of the success you have?
I think so. I mean, I don't think World Team Tennis will ever be the same. And I mean that in a huge positive way. I mean, I think we learned so much. That's sort of the silver lining coming out of this pandemic, is that, having matches all day was actually great for tennis. Having an 11 a.m., a 2 p.m., a 7 p.m. match, it also helped the players be able to sort of see what was happening as the season developed, to try and make that cut line and be the top 4 to make it. And with a lot of prize money on the line, $1 million in postseason prize money in addition to their regular season, everyone was very keen, especially this year, where earnings are, they're 6 months down any way you cut it. It just doesn't matter. They lost 6 months of earnings. And so I don't think we go back, David. No, I think that, is it one location? Don't know yet. We're still gathering sort of all the P&L and how we did and what worked. And certainly we had a lot of great sponsors new this year, which I was super happy about. And now we have to talk with them about moving forward. Is it a hybrid? And, is there an East Coast, West Coast location? Is there some home stands where, you go to New York with 4 teams for 4 days and the fans get to see, Chicago, New York, Philly, and DC all together? Yeah, I think so. And we're working through that now. And I do think, what we learned this year, not just from having all the teams together, but even what we did with the coaches and the players being ball kids and coaching each other on the court.
Really cool.
Everyone has told us, like, I felt like I was on a team like I've never before. I mean, you had the Bryant brothers walking up to Sam Querrey with 2 tennis balls saying, hey, Sam, slide it down the middle. I think, that's the serve right now. And it was insanely cool. And so I think there's a lot of good things that come out of this that help us to shape, 21 going forward.
Yeah, and you said, the amount of Grand Slam champions that participated this year, it was unbelievable. And I think a lot of players that maybe did not participate, when they saw how positive this event was, they're going to be chomping at the bit to try to participate in future years. And I know when we originally spoke, I think it was in April, our original podcast, the weeks and months kind of run into each other, but we spoke originally back in April. The Greenbrier was not set yet. But in talking with you, you were going to get it done in some way, shape, or form. And kudos to you and your team, because, you guys absolutely crushed it. And I know you're still riding high. It was an unbelievable win for the sport of tennis. And I want to congratulate you and your team because it was awesome. And thanks again for hopping on and discussing it with me.
Yeah, no, well, thank you. And, we are still riding, a little bit of the high, a little bit of relief too, because, like you said, you worried every day, you didn't want that headline to get written like, what a bunch of dummies for trying this. And, a lot of that is just being diligent and getting a little lucky. And we did. We also, the partners were great. It was great having the finals on CBS. It was great having so many matches on Tennis Channel. And there were a couple of days on Tennis Channel where they would do a re-air in the morning and then we'd be live, and they'd do a re-air at night. It was like World Team Tennis roadblock all day. So that was great. And, and the ESPN guys were awesome too. We had so many matches on ESPN too. So I think the great news is that the fans won here and they got to see 66 awesome matches with, I can't even name all, from Taylor Fritz to Kim Clijsters, the Bryant brothers to Sophia Kenin, Taylor Towns. It's just the list is like just keeps going and going. And so, yeah, it was really great. The players were great too. And it was great hanging out with the players for 3 weeks too, and really getting to know them for myself too, because, usually you see them at a match, you say hi, you say congrats, and then it's, off on a plane to Vegas or Chicago or New York. And it was great being able to, see them. And, we had a lot of fun together.
Oh, I'm sure. And if you don't mind, just a quick plug for my podcast, some people instrumental in World Team Tennis. I've had Luke Jensen on previously. I've also had Mark Lucero on, who did an unbelievable job commentating some matches. And I just talked to Mark yesterday. He is so fun to talk tennis with. Such great insight. And he's just a great, great all-around guy. So make sure to check out those episodes. What's that?
Yeah, it was great. I'll give you the quick plug too. Mark and I both played tennis at Boston College. So he's a lot younger than I am. But so we had the little BC Eagles thing going. We got to hit some balls a couple mornings, did a couple workouts together, and it was super fun. So yeah, Mark was a great addition to the team. I love his positive energy too.
Great all-around guy. Carlos, I know even though you still got the adrenaline rocking and rolling, you probably are so tired. So I'm going to let you go. Appreciate your time. Again, congrats. It was awesome. Thanks for spending time with me tonight.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, and look forward to jumping on again. And as always, thanks for your support too.
Thanks, Carlos.